All good. I mean, could not be proud of our guys for the fight, especially in the second half. You know, we knew that High Point was an incredibly dangerous team, and you know, I thought we did a really good job through stretches of kind of knowing that and kind of paying attention to what was going on, especially obviously to finish, you know, that last 8 or so minutes of the game. But, you know, that's the best lesson we could possibly learn is just the examples and the lessons that we're going to take from tonight, where when you take a play or two and just kind of go do your own thing, they made us pay. You know, we had 9 points. We gave up 9 points on 3 different threes, doing things that were just very uncharacteristic of us, just to kind of leaving a shooter to gamble and take a risk, and they made us pay all 3 times. And that was our biggest talking point at halftime, was just to do what you've been doing. You know, just stay solid, trust each other. And I mean, they went on a good little run in the second half, but to finish the game, the guys, they banded together pretty good and just did what they needed to do to get good shots and get stops and rebounds.
Kevin, it seemed like Luis was just everywhere today, out in transition, all over the ball, wherever it was. Just what does he bring when he plays like that?
Well, it's another weapon. You know, to have a double-double at a wing spot is it's huge. You know, David and Vic, EJ's always been a good rebounder throughout his career, but now when you can add another guard that'll go rebound, ended up with 10 tonight, 3 offensive, that just makes you more dangerous. And I thought, you know, without those rebounds, getting hands on rebounds, even if he didn't end up with them, you know, that was a huge part that kind of just, even when we hit a little bit of a rut, it just kind of kept us going a little bit.
And then David seemed like just a real presence in front of the rim today. How have you seen him kind of grow into that physically, you know, what it takes to be the anchor of a defense?
Yeah, he's done a great job these first 4 games of protecting the rim, but also when he gets out on the perimeter, he's done a really good job of sliding his feet, and he's not just getting blown by. And, you know, the fact that we can have him out there and not just get blown by is huge for our defense, you know, switching as much as we do. But then also to be a threat at the rim, you know, when Keyshawn and Jackie and EJ can get around guys the way that they do, when you can consistently have that threat at the rim, it just makes us more dynamic. And, you know, I thought a lot of those threes, those looks we had in the first half, you know, which were a lot of them were really good looks, but they're in part created because of the attention Dave gets at the rim.
Gilbert and Harkless combined for 15 assists. What did you think about the way they created some open looks?
Yeah, I mean, between those two and then Jackie, you know, their ability to get in the paint is something that we're going to rely on all year. You know, they do a really good job of getting past their guy, and so far, you know, EJ's obviously much more experienced at it, and he makes a lot of really good decisions when he gets in there, and Keyshawn is just kind of picked up where he left off last year, just in terms of his growth and getting into the paint, making the right decisions, and you know, so guys are starting to learn each other a little bit. You know, when guys are going to shoot it, where they're going to be at, and they're just kind of continuing to flow. And you know, hopefully in the first half on Monday, we'll pick up where we left off in the second half instead of waiting for the second half again, like we've done the last 2 games.
Yeah, you trailed at halftime for the past 2 games. Luis was in here. He said, you know, they realized it's a long game. They didn't really panic. They stuck to the plan. Is that a skill or something that's important to have, especially for a defensive team like you want to be, where you're probably going to be in a lot of close games and maybe trailing in some of these games?
Yeah, I think you know, that security is good. You know, if you've got the confidence when you go in at halftime that it's not over, you know, that's definitely a much better trait than going in there doom and gloom and yelling at everybody. So, you know, but as many games as EJ, you know, EP, you know, Lou, you know, Vic, as many games as they've played in their career, you know, there's really no reason for them to go in there at halftime and think anything other than they're gonna correct what they need to correct, tighten things up, and have a much better second half.
It's got to feel good to see all 5 starters end up in double digits and Jackie off the bench as well. It seemed like in the second half of the Dayton game, they picked it up and started scoring more, and that did carry over throughout the game here, where you're getting an even keel scoring from everyone. How important is that to you?
Well, it's huge. I mean, it's, you know, to have 6 guys in double figures is it's really dangerous, and you know, to have that many threats and have that many guys that can score is going to make us that more dangerous. And you know, in the first half, we've just got to get a little more movement, a little probably deeper into the shot clock, not take quick ones, Because when we share it and when we get the ball around and get a lot of touches, there's a lot of guys that can go score it. Jackie with none at halftime, 0 for 2 from the field. He came out and gave us a huge spark offensively. EJ kind of had a similar game to where he had last week, where he had a really good second half, not necessarily a stellar first half, but if we can just kind of get that momentum going, that ball rolling a little earlier, I think that's going to be our challenge. Getting that ball rolling, getting a lot of guys good looks throughout the first half. So we're not waiting for the second half.
Coach, great character win. How much time did you have to spend getting your guys to put Dayton behind them and then lock in on High Point? Not
much. I mean, we were right at it that night. Tuesday night, we sent everybody what they needed to know for High Point, and they knew and understood. Averaging 100 points a game, 3 guys around the 20 mark, 1 guy almost at 30. Somebody, a guy hitting 7 of 10 in the last game from 3. I mean, that's tough in 5-on-0. So they absolutely understood how flammable High Point was, which unfortunately we all got to see kind of on 2 different stretches tonight. But they play with a lot of confidence. They play, free and they make plays for each other. And but the guys absolutely knew that we had our work cut out for us with them, and we knew they were going to go on runs. We just had to do our best to just make them even shorter, or just make them a little harder. And I thought at that point in the second half, we had better contests. We did a better job getting clean 2-handed rebounds. Not letting them keep possessions alive, and I think that's where the difference in the game that led to the outcome.
I think with about 2 minutes left, Luis comes up with that steal on the sideline and kind of lets out a yell, gets really amped up. What is it like to see one of your veteran team leaders take such pride not only in his game but in the defensive side of it, and really engage on that side?
Well, it's huge from a leadership standpoint when you've got a guy who, when you've got the older group in EJ, EP, and Lou that just go out there and know that you have to do what they're doing defensively to win. They're not worried about shot attempts. They're not worried about touches. They truly believe that if they can go and shut teams down defensively, that the offense will take care of itself. And so far in the 4 games, it'd be really hard to dispute that. We haven't shot the ball great, but defensively, we've gotten high praise from every coach, and it pretty much leads with those 3.
Kevin, 4th game in a row, your defense has forced more than 20 turnovers. What have you enjoyed most about your defense through these first 4?
Well, I think just the contrast between when we do when they're together and when they do what they've been working on, and then and they're kind of taking ownership of it, versus when we don't. It just really sticks out. In the first half, a couple loose balls under the rim that they grabbed and laid in. That's just not what the guys have been doing, and they recognize it immediately. So I think just kind of watching them kind of take the game plan or the strategy that we've had since June and just kind of to continue to make it their own is really fun, because it's fun to be a part of it when you got those guys out there pointing and talking and coming together and figuring out how to get a stop. And it's something that I think we can continue to get better at, because it'll just kind of grab a life of its own, and it will be really hard to prepare for when the ownership's taken by the guys and getting stops and getting rebounds.
Was there any correlation at the end of the game with the missed slam dunk and you putting him on the bench?
Keyshawn?
Yes.
No, he was tired, and he might have missed the dunk because he was tired. But either way, we had talked about actually getting him out earlier, a few minutes earlier. We were going to wait for the media to send somebody to the table. So no, it didn't. There was no correlation there. But he recognized it. We did a great job of taking care of the ball in the second half, in the first half too. And then I think he was just tired at the end of the game. And he fumbled one. They gave up a 3 there even at the end. But the best part about Keyshawn is just how he's just kind of dedicated himself to not caring about anything other than being a winner at UNLV. You can yell at him, you can do whatever, but you don't have to, because he's upset with himself. You don't have to jump him and scream and embarrass him. He's much more mad at himself for taking those 2 points off the board or potentially drawing a foul that probably would have ended it than anything we could say to him.
How do you feel about where you are heading into the SoCal Challenge in a couple days?
I think we're in a great spot because we're better than we were 4 games ago, and I think that's about all we could ask for right now. You know, non-conference slates to get as ready as possible, see as many different things as you can. But even in the locker room, guys are already talking about it. They understand the job that we have in front of us in the SoCal Challenge and how difficult that's going to be. You know, and so they're already talking about it, doing what they need to do to get ready for tomorrow. But you know, I'm excited where we're at, the progress we've made. I believe, if my math is correct, that's 97 turnovers in 4 games forced. We know that's going to be our MO, and I truly think we potentially could have forced a few more in the first half had we just been a little less reactive to what they were doing and a little more proactive, kind of much like we were in the first 3 games.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank y'all.
All right. Just to start off, 4-0, guys. How does it feel?
Feel amazing. Feel great.
Yeah, honestly, it's like the hard work we put in every day, you know, practice, leading up to the games is just paying off. So it's a great feeling. Wonderful.
David, what was kind of the objective tonight against High Point? Obviously, they come in averaging 100 points a game. Just what were you guys trying to prevent them from doing, I guess?
Yeah, so Coach was big on personnel leading up to tonight's game. He mentioned 3 players that can all shoot, distribute as well. So we try to key in on those 3 players, and you know, obviously they still had decent games, but you know, in the end we did our job, so that's what really mattered.
Definitely. And then Luis, it seemed like you were everywhere tonight. What was kind of your mentality entering the game?
Play hard. Just play as hard as I can. Do what I got to do to help the team win. So.
Luis, what was the general game plan defensively for High Point?
Really just forced them to take tough shots. We know they had some great shooters, so run them off the line as much as we can. You know, try not to let them get going. They did get going, but just sticking to what we do, our defensive principles, and just run them off the line, rebound, and get out and run.
And, you know, close game through most of the first half. You guys were down for a lot of it. What is this team's confidence level? You know, if you struggle shooting in the first half and you may find yourself down, what's your confidence level in those situations?
We all play basketball, been doing it for a long time, so we know that it's a long game, and it's a lot of time to play through mistakes, play through missed shots. So we just got to tell each other every game, even if we're losing and it's not going how we want to, keep playing hard. And if we do what we got to do, the results will show at the end. So, yeah.
Luis, Jackie kind of fell out of the rotation in that last game against Dayton, but he comes out tonight, provides a real spark for you guys in that second half. What was it like to see him have the game that he did?
He deserves it. He's one of the first guys in the gym every day. So just for him to, you know, show his work and he makes shots, and we all know he can. So that was big just for him, maybe his confidence, everything, just, yeah.
And then David, Kruger said after the last game he wanted to see how you guys responded. How do you guys feel like you responded to that big win tonight, and what do you guys have to do to keep moving forward?
Honestly, just keeping like level-headed, you know, going into every game with a fresh mind, you know, even though we had a big win, you know, every day is a new day. Every opponent is a new opponent, you know, everyone plays different. So just keeping that mindset, you know, not getting too high on ourselves or too low on ourselves, whether we win or lose, and just taking every day for granted.
A little bit the tale of 2 halves in the last couple of games. You started slow, but then in the second half, both the last 2 games, you really picked it up. Down the road, you probably don't want to keep starting slow because that's going to probably cause you some issues. What are you going to do, or what are you talking about to start quicker?
Just being locked in. I think, you know, it's basketball. We're not going to always get off to the start we want, but we just got to find ways to, you know, make stuff happen and, you know, just make plays and just find ways to win. You know, at the end, it's all about, you know, who is locked in for that second half. And if we can lock in and do what we got to do and come out victorious, then it really doesn't matter. But, you know, just locking in for real.
Luis, you guys are 4-0. 4 home games. Do you feel like this team is ready to go on the road, play in this SoCal tournament?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a different look for us, which will also be good for us. See how we do in the neutral site. That'd be major, because we've been having a crowd behind us. But see where we at. It's a good test for us. We play some good teams, so I think our team's excited. Everybody in the staff is excited, so it should be fun.
For either one of you guys trailed by 3 at the half. What was kind of the message coming into the second half?
Well, heading into the locker room, none of the guys had their heads down. We all had our heads up. We've been down before. Obviously, last game against Dayton, we were down 10. So just, keeping that confidence level high, knowing what we can do, what we have the potential to do on defense and the offensive end as well. And, just keeping level-headed no matter whether we're down or up, and just coming out strong that second half.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.